Hey, what's going on, everyone? Do Australians like the American accent? Let's find out. Let's hop into it. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the American accent as well. I always find I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of my accent or the American accent. I always find it's interesting. Like, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I find personally, people sound smart. You could take the same phrase, say it with a British accent, you'll sound smarter than if you say it with an American accent. And let me know in the comments, like, my accent, do I just sound American? Pretty much, right? Because I travel often to the States. I mean, not the last little bit. I haven't been there since Trump. Certainly, I haven't been there since Trump took office. But I do have a trip planned in June to go see Wu-Tang Clan. Yep, going to see Wu-Tang Clan. It's gonna be wicked. But yeah, I find my accent probably sounds pretty like generic American, or I don't know if you guys can distinguish, like, oh, he sounds Canadian. Like, if I say a lot, maybe like there might just be some phrasing that I would use that would identify me as Canadian potentially. I'm not sure. But the Australian accent, I think, is fantastic. I love the Australian accent. I remember early on when we started this channel, I tried to do the Australian accent a few times, and the reactions from you guys were certainly hit or miss. Some people held the Australian accent very close to their hearts and got kind of offended at my attempts. Some people said, "You're doing great." Like, you know what? That was an excellent Australian accent for, somebody who's just practicing, because I feel like Australian accents are pretty hard to nail down. And then even within Australia, there's different accents, and that's why linguistics and dialect and language is so ever fascinating, I think, and the different ways that we communicate with each other. I'm not going to try to do an Australian accent right now because I don't want to offend anybody. And it stresses me out. Like, I'm not good at it. It's a hard one. Let's go.
The American accent. The accent that everyone loves, but at the same time, everyone hates. Let's see what some Australians think about the American accent.
Does everybody hate the American accent? I don't know. How can you hate an accent? Or do you just hate Americans?
How do you feel about the American accent? So when you hear it on TV or whatever, when you hear it, what do you think?
It depends. I think we're kind of used to it now. But honestly, when it's in contrast with Australian accents and other normal accents, it grates on my nerves a bit sometimes.
My first thought is probably like, oh, what? Like, you don't...
Because that's the thing. Pop culture and media, a lot of it, I assume, that is consumed worldwide is like from Hollywood, right? It's like the big American networks and streaming companies. A lot of American television series are like the most iconic, right?
Expect it. It's never like, yeah, you don't expect it. And I think there's a few different American accents, but mostly it's quite nice. It's fairly like comforting. You hear it all the time on like the radio and TV and all that sort of stuff. So when you hear it in real life, you're like, oh, cool. It's cool.
There's several American accents.
I used to work at, like, a long time ago, I used to work at the airport, and I would do announcements in a Southern American accent every once in a while, just for fun. Well, may I have your attention, please? Please report to gate 2 if you're traveling on flight 747. Get down through security right now. Your flight is about to board.
Sense. I prefer the ones on the north rather than the ones on the south.
You'd see people
and I don't mind when they speak sort of regular speed, but often they tend to speak very quickly.
Right.
And it's a bit hard to follow, but once you get the gist of it, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you hear it on TV, it's not so like noticeable, but then when you hear it in person,
it's more jarring.
It's a little bit obnoxious.
Obnoxious.
A little bit irritating. Yeah, you have a beautiful accent.
I think it sounds cool because you'll most likely associate it with like famous people.
I think the Northern American accent is sort of softer and not as
Harsh.
pronounced as some of the other accents that are there.
Right.
But overall,
The Northern American like, is he talking about a New Yorker or like? Because New York accents, I don't know if I'd call it soft or like a Boston accent.
I thought the American accent was quite good.
I think it's really cool. Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Not bad on the ears. Yeah. Pretty normal now.
It really depends what part of America. I like the real southern accents, but like the more new, like Jersey kind of accents, I'm not a fan of.
I think a similar thing. Like, it's fine in pop culture and TV because we're all used to it, but when it comes to hearing it in person, you're like, oh, that's a bit different. It's not anything bad. It just feels different to your own. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It's not the most beautiful to listen to, but I would say it's not an phonetically offensive.
It's not the most beautiful to listen to. Phonetically offensive. I like that. I'm going to use that. Phonetically offensive. This guy, legend for that. But yeah, I agree what he's saying. Like, British accents, Australian accents, they're just more fun to listen to. They're just more pleasant. They sound more intelligent. Like literally the same words being said, but if they're said in British or Australian, like they just sound better.
Accent at all.
Okay, sweet.
I like it.
He likes it. Now this part, can you give me your best American accent? So these top ones are like all jokes. This one is a lyric, and then this last one is like a quote.
Oh my god.
So up to you. You can pick anything you want.
I'm gonna try the quote. We still hadn't learned though that growing up is all about getting hurt and then getting over it. You hurt, you recover, you move on. Odds are pretty good you're just gonna get hurt again, but each time you learn something.
So
She did pretty good. Besides the end there, the learn something kind of her Australian came back in.
we're down here in Adelaide today, and it's pretty sunny, pretty nice day. Yeah, that's me.
I'll have a bottle.
Well, let me give you my credit card. I have 14 credit cards in my wallet. Here you go. Cheers. Thank you very much.
A Coke, thanks.
Oh yeah, I'll do that one.
That one? Okay.
Did you hear about the kidnapping at school? It's fine. He woke.
No, go for this one.
You wanna go for it? Okay.
Yeah. What do you call a fat psychic? A fortune teller? We still hadn't learned though that growing up it's all about getting hurt and then getting over it. You hurt, you recover, you move on. Odds are pretty good. You're just gonna get hurt again, but each time you learn something.
Hey, Tony, how's it going, man? Hey, you wanna go get a pasta? Oh wait, that's Italian, isn't it? It's American.
Is he saying like Tony Soprano? Aye.
Italian, though. American Italian. Just gonna get his character. What would an American say? Yeah, so like totally guys, I headed over to New York and we were eating cakes out beside Brooklyn Bridge and you know, it was just beautiful. Took a selfie, it was pretty cute. Yeah, it's pretty hot.
I wake up.
That's kind of sad that his go-to one is like, what do you call that? That's like American high school girl, something like that.
Every evening with a big smile
College
on my
girl
face,
accent.
and it never feels out of place. And you're probably still working at a 9-to-5 pace. I wonder how bad that tastes.
You guys know what song that
That's the song, yeah.
Well, so there you have it, folks. That is what some Australians think about the American accent now. Good, bad, or indifferent.
Interesting.
Don't take it too seriously because at the end of the day,
Who cares?
it's not that serious.
At the end of the day, it's not that deep. It's not that serious. Who cares? I love Mad Max Fury Road and I love Furiosa. But one thing that I really, really love about Furiosa is Chris Hemsworth. His performance, he's hilarious. And his accent and his like vocalizations throughout it are they're so funny. Like they're so funny. So good. Just ladies and gentlemen, like I don't want to do the imitations right now, but he's too much, man. He cracks me up. He cracks me up in that role. So good. All right. See you all in the next one.